Welcome to Studio 23 Nashville. Jennifer Herron here, Brian Cumming, and guess who's coming to visit?
We've got a very fine songwriter and harmonica player, Everett Brown from Memphis, Tennessee.
Welcome to Studio 23 Nashville with your hosts Jennifer Herron and Brian Cumming. Today's special guest is Americana singer-songwriter Everett Brown.
Welcome to Studio 23 Nashville. Hi, I'm Jennifer Herron, Brian Cumming.
Yes, good evening. We're very happy to have with us a guest, a songwriter who lives in Nashville. He comes from Memphis, Tennessee. He plays some mighty nice blues harp, but we're going to have him sing some of his songs today. Mr. Everett Brown.
Thanks for having me.
That's a nice hat.
Oh, thanks. It's kind of a medium hat. It's not country. It's not cowboy hat, and it's not a pork pie hat. It's kind of in between.
It could get away with the blues, though.
Yeah,
scene.
I'll take that.
Yeah, or a politician from the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay.
He has an honest face. I don't know.
He does, yeah.
I call it an estate sale hat.
Is that what it is?
Well, Everett actually collects hats. He's got about 30 that
Yeah,
he...
probably about 30, yeah.
And do you wear them all, or is this something you display on
No,
the
I
wall
wear
in the
them
house?
all. I wear them all just at different times.
Yeah.
Depends on his mood.
Depends on my mood,
Yeah.
yeah.
Your music is kind of that way,
You're
right?
You're not fully dressed without a hat, I don't think.
I love it. Yes,
Yeah.
everybody needs a topper. Your music's kind of that way, though. You cover different spectrums, right?
I do. Well, as a songwriter, as opposed to being an artist of a certain genre, I can write songs from any genre because I'm a songwriter.
In fact, you were telling us that your story as a Memphis musician was that they said, you're too country, you should go to Nashville. And
then I come to Nashville and they say, you're not country, go back to Memphis. And then I go to LA and they say, yeah, you're country, go back to Tennessee. So,
Did you actually go to LA?
I did, yeah.
Did you spend a little time there?
A few months.
That's
yeah.
enough, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you were pitching songs?
Yeah, and playing the Hoot Nights.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They call them Hoot Nights out there.
Yeah. Well,
Is
let's
that
go
like a
back.
songwriter's thing?
Yeah, and open mic kind of thing. They wouldn't have just musicians, they would have jugglers and
anything that's entertainment.
Really?
Yeah.
dramatic actors. Yeah.
Really?
yeah.
Talent free-for-all. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
So you started playing in bands in Memphis.
I
Which was a
did.
pretty rich musical experience.
I was actually playing guitar when the Beatles came out.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to show my age, but if the Beatles hadn't come along, I'd still be playing Down in the Valley and, you know.
Yeah,
Bluefield
because
Five.
there was definitely a folk flavor to young America at the time. You were
Right.
playing
and,
guitar until the Beatles.
I was in my first band when I was in the 6th grade. We were Dennis and the Menaces, and we won a few talent shows. And
That's
yeah.
great.
then we could play Beatles stuff too. So
Yeah. Were you writing your own songs in the band?
I actually did start writing, but you know, I'd play songs from my class. I'd make them up, car songs and that kind of thing.
Oh.
But I really didn't really get serious till the singer-songwriter wave. Bob Dylan, James Taylor, Jackson Brown. That's when I got serious about
Early
singing.
70s, maybe.
Early 70s.
What was it about those guys? They seemed to open a door for a lot of folks that they thought, I can do this. Did they make it seem simplistic in their writing, or what was
I
it?
think it was just the personal nature of it, because to understand the songs, you'd have to know a little bit about the person. And, you know, whether it's Joni Mitchell, or we knew what was going on with them, and that made the songs personal to us, you know.
Yeah.
You know, Fire and Rain is probably a great example. That was one of James Taylor's earliest hits, and we kind of
We knew where he was coming from.
that he had encountered this person who
Exactly.
and you know, it was his story, very personal. That's very interesting. And Carole King also deserves a lot of credit for kind of helping to usher in a new genre almost, really, of the singer-songwriter, because that album she did was so popular, Tapestry.
But because I was a songwriter, that's what
Yeah.
brought me to Nashville.
Yeah.
I became a Christian, and I wrote Christian songs and had some little traction going there.
Yeah.
And at the time, in the 80s, Nashville, 80% of the Christian music came from Nashville, contemporary Christian. So
Were you talking to a Christian publisher and that
I
kind of thing?
was, and labels. But what I found out was that music business is music business.
Yeah.
They want you to be crossover. They want you to be, you know, in different genres. You know,
Yeah.
like they said, go get some country hits and come back, and that kind of thing.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
They really want you to spread your wings so they can make more money. You know,
Yeah,
album
yeah,
sales all
that's
over
kinda
the
what it
place to
is.
different
But
groups.
I learned something in all that, though. I mean, by playing any kind of music, the opposite of sacred is not secular. It's profane. So as long as you're not being profane, that's sacred, you know.
Oh,
George Jones is sacred, you know.
yeah, yeah. That's great. In most country music.
Oh yeah,
But,
yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, something else that's interesting that's come up is that you didn't pursue the route of a songwriter who met up with other songwriters to co-write and make a team out of it.
No, one of my heroes was Roger Miller.
Oh, gosh.
And Roger Miller, they used to give him the same treatment, like he didn't co-write, and he said Picasso didn't co-paint.
That's a good way to put it.
Quote
Well,
of the
Roger
day.
Miller really stands out as such a distinctive writer. I mean,
And
there's
I liked
nobody
all those
like
things about him. He could be
Yeah.
humorous. He could be, dramatic and
him.
poignant.
Yeah.
And I like that.
And there's no mistaking a Roger Miller song for anyone else's. I mean, it
No.
really stands out.
He was magical with vocabulary and
To
rhyming
me
and
that-
twisting words. Yeah.
To me, that was a Nashville songwriter. I really came at a time after Bob Dylan had recorded Nashville Skyline.
Yeah.
Then it became hip, like Chris Christopherson.
Right.
But writers like him and Tom T. Hall.
Maybe Shel Silverstein.
Yeah. That's what drew me to Nashville, was those songwriters.
Yeah.
And so it was more about the songwriting, not you up in the spotlight yourself.
Right. In this town, there you could be a star or you could be an artist.
Yeah.
And just whichever road you want to go down. But a lot of people, they're not here to be stars. They are here to be artists and to create art.
Ooh, when did you realize that?
I just made that up.
no, that's
fly.
great.
No, I think that's pretty well understood. The star syndrome, or getting on that machine,
Yeah.
as
yeah.
opposed to working on your craft and
Yeah.
touching people.
Well, thinking back to that era and some of the writers like Christopherson and Willie Nelson was a writer, but both Christopherson and Willie Nelson became known as artists, but it was the writing that was the foundation, I suppose. Maybe differently for the two of them, but they both were the kind of people that you'd want to buy tickets to go see them perform.
Right.
Whereas they didn't really need that. Their writing was more than established and was bringing in more than enough, income as far as just.
And they were genuine, as opposed to a lot of the artists today. They might sing country, but they're far from country. But Waylon and Willie and those guys, they were the genuine article. They sang from their hearts and their lives.
I feel like, though, like when Willie Nelson and some of those guys first came out, they didn't get the credit. So many times they sold off songs, or different people's names
Yes,
would appear
yes.
as a co-writer or the writer.
Well, I've been that route myself. I mean, I've made every mistake in the book, and that's what they do. When you're young and you don't know better,
They're telling you how they can make money by you following
right?
the rules
Or
that
they
they
want
made
their
up.
name on something that you created. And when you're young and impressionable, you say, well, if you record it, yeah, you can put your name on there too.
Yeah.
Or just enough money for lunch,
it's
and
not-
then, hey, here's the song.
It's legal, but it's not ethical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking too, Willie Nelson became the kind of character that he's known as. In the beginning, you've seen these pictures of him in the
Yeah,
coat
yeah.
and tie and his short hair.
Right.
He was temporarily a product of the system. Like, this is the formula. Come on, Willie, follow the rules. And he tried, but he had already written crazy by that point and established himself. And he just withdrew from the conventional business and became the Willie Nelson that sort of launched a whole new period of, and the authenticity that you're saying, like that you knew you were getting the real Willie.
Well, that's what I wanted in my music, and I've been told
Yeah.
that there's a lot of me in my music. And well, that's great. That's
Yeah,
what I strive for.
Yeah, and I hear it.
Hickman County, Tennessee. It feels a lot like home, or how home should feel. Come by, sit a spell. Soak in the goodness that inspired Minnie Pearl to write about this special place. Visit Hickman County, Tennessee's hidden treasure. Be the envy of the neighborhood. Make your friends jealous. Be the first on your block to get official swag from Studio 23 Nashville, Pinkerton Productions, and Brian Cumming. Just visit our store at the bottom of the page and order yours today.
Everett, it is really good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
There's a song that we're going to be doing here where I get to play saxophone, and I can't help but remember that you are from Memphis.
Oh, yes.
And I was inspired by Memphis music when I was growing up, and I think that's part of why I like playing saxophone. And so I'm grateful to you for writing a song and recording it with some kind of Memphis flavored groove to it.
Memphis is still near and dear to my heart, but I grew up in bands with horn sections, you know,
Oh, okay.
because in Memphis, you know.
That was the thing.
Yeah,
It
it
sure
was. And I'm
cool.
thankful for that heritage, you know.
Yeah, well, I really do hear the Memphis flavor in the track of this song. And I'm glad for the chance to attempt to simulate it with only an acoustic guitar and a saxophone and your wonderful voice. So do you want to say anything about Saturday?
Well, I'll just say that I wrote it when I had the flu, because I was feeling sorry for myself, and
A great start for a song.
you can't get a date when you got the flu, and I say you can tell that I wrote it when I had the flu because the chorus is so infectious.
Well, maybe we can make a video that'll go viral.
Oh, there you go. Let's try it.
All right, Everett Brown's Saturday.
Everybody's living for the weekend, craving another day off. For me it's just a bleak end, thinking about the love I lost. Saturday, Saturday, that's the day my baby went away. I can be strong the whole week long, but there's no Saturday than Saturday. There's no Saturday than Saturday. Don't know when it happened or where we got off track. How can someone give you their heart and then take the whole thing back? Saturday, Saturday, that's the day my baby went away. I can be strong the whole week long, but there's no Saturday than Saturday. There's no Saturday than Saturday. The day she walked out the door was certain she'd return, but I've been wrong before. I guess you live and you learn. It's a Saturday matinee, I'm all dressed up at home, money in my pockets and time on my hands, and no one to spend it on. Saturday, Saturday, that's the day my baby went away. I can be strong the whole week long, but there's no Saturday than Saturday. There's no Saturday than Saturday. There's no better day than Saturday. Saturday, Saturday.
So tell us about your music. What kind of audience does your music attract at your shows?
I'd really change my set list to whoever I'm playing for. I play for children, or I play for assisted living, you know, those people, or I play a cafe, and, you know, I kind of adjust to the audience rather than, you know, than throwing everything out there and saying, listen to this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, he was telling me that you're part of Les Kerr's Bayou Band, right?
Right.
So the big Mardi Gras that happens
Oh,
here
yeah.
in
We've
Nashville.
been doing that for years and years.
Yeah. Over at the Bluebird Cafe.
Right. I think it's, what, 25th year? 26, something like
he has.
that.
Now, Everett is a really fine blues harmonica player, and that's what he does mostly with Les.
That's
but
it.
there's also part of the show where different members of the band are allowed to come out and show what they have written in addition to Les. It's a little bit of a variety show.
That's right.
And so Everett gets to come out and do,
One of us, Google or something.
yeah.
Google song. Yep.
Now, I saw you playing banjo on a video.
I
Is that on YouTube?
But, you know, I play banjo like I play guitar. Upside down, I play left-handed.
Oh, wow.
So the strings are reversed on banjo, but it's the same principle as guitar, that if you make the right sequence, it doesn't matter which finger you use, you know?
I'm gonna have to ask a stupid question because I am not the musician in the group. So you said you play it backwards, because you're
Upside down,
left-handed. Do you string it backwards or
No.
do you just play it
I
backwards?
play right-handed guitar
Okay.
upside down, right-handed banjo upside down. When the banjo, it's kind of extra hard because you got the thumb string halfway up the neck, and you have to just kind of drop your hand and play around it.
Wow, that is something. And a lot of left-handed people will play a left-handed guitar that is strung so that it resembles the
Right.
way a right-handed guitarist play. But he's got the high string.
But the really
on the
skilled
bottom.
people that can play with it strung either way. Paul McCartney and Jimi Hendrix, they were two that could play
That was that
left-handed, strung left-handed or strung right-handed.
I did not know
That's
that.
skill.
Wow.
That's skill.
Wow. Are there any videos of Jimi Hendrix playing a solo with a strings
I don't know.
upside?
I don't know. But McCartney, he plays a right-handed guitar or a left-handed guitar. I've seen him do both.
I love that. I did not know that
Yeah.
they could play both ways. I never heard
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Ah,
In a way, it's easier because he doesn't have to go looking for a left-handed guitar.
There's a
I've
book
always
that
wondered.
thick called Uncommon Sound that a guy in Belgium put together, and he got my friend Don Jones. He has 5 pages in it, and it's left-handed guitarists all over the world. Some string, some restring, and then he's got another one that thick of left-handed bass players. It's called Uncommon Sound.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very cool.
because Elizabeth Cotton
Yeah.
played left-handed.
She was very influential. What's she?
Oh yeah, and fingerstyle, yeah.
so how do you like your barbecue?
Memphis barbecue, dry rub. That's what I really prefer. Like the Rendezvous, they've got it right. So after all these years,
I have never had Memphis barbecue, and I had to ask you that question. I've heard it's the best in the world. I'm from Texas,
It
where we
is.
do brisket.
yeah, you do beef.
Yeah.
But we do ribs.
I
Pork
love
ribs.
All right.
But
amazing.
Memphis was a great town. The food was great. I think it's the water though. They have artesian wells, and we said the water was responsible for the good cooking. I don't know, but it was it's a colorful town, river town, and I was exposed to every kind of music growing up,
Yeah.
and
And Memphis had that. It was kind of innovative in having those record labels that produced. Stax is
exactly.
one of the most
Well,
famous.
they were a maverick town too. Back in the early days of rock and roll, I mean, Sam Phillips was a
that's-
maverick,
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you're right. Yeah, Sun Records. Holy
and he broke the mold.
yeah.
for
and
a
created
record-
an entire.
For a record label. I recorded a gospel album in 1984 at Sam Phillips Recording Service, and it was just a custom project. But
Yeah.
some other people recorded songs from that, but I worked with some of Memphis' finest musicians and Stan Kessler. He was famous from the Elvis days. He wrote some of the songs and
Yeah.
played in Elvis's band, I think, and so I kind of had that connection.
You were in the Sun Studios.
Oh yeah, Sam Phillips.
Yeah.
Could you feel the magic there? Was there special acoustics? What was?
Well, we
special?
tried to record the same way they did. We
Yeah.
recorded it all at once rather than piece it together like they do these days.
Yeah.
And I did as much as I could do. I had some songs recorded by the Blackwood Brothers. They were like the premier gospel group in town, Grammy winners.
Yeah.
And I played a lot with a lounge singer who lived next door to Jerry Lee Lewis. So he came and sat in one night. We played a Holiday Inn, and it was the first time I'd been playing bass for like one night. and I had a borrowed bass with old strings, and then Jerry Lee Lewis comes and sits in
Oh my gosh.
and played like a 45-minute medley. 45-minute medley. And
With you on bass.
Yes.
That you've been learning how to play
Yes.
the day before.
oh my gosh.
but he didn't know that. But he had an after hours club called the Nightlighter, and we would finish at the Holiday Inn at 1 o'clock, and then we'd go play with Jerry Lee till like 5 in the morning, 5 or 6. As long as there were 2 old ladies out in the audience, he'd keep playing, and eventually the band one by one would leave.
My
Still be
gosh,
up
that
there.
was
What
his-
year was this?
About 1971, 72.
Oh my gosh. So he was still quite wild.
Oh,
or not?
he was, but he was a gentleman. I mean, it's kind of exaggerated. I mean, maybe he was on the road or on tour, but he was nice to his band, and we respected him, for sure.
Yeah. So did he live in Memphis?
He lived in Mississippi, Horn Lake, Mississippi, outside of
But
Memphis.
he started a club called the Nightlighter.
He had it for a short time, but he played Hernando's Hideaway a lot. That was like on the Mississippi line.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Hernando,
mean-
Is that
Mississippi.
the
Beautiful
club
area.
that was made famous by the song?
I don't know. I haven't heard the
Hernando's
song.
Hideaway. Okay.
Oh, man, probably not the same one.
Okay,
'cause-
okay. It was just a famous name. Okay, okay.
But you know, like all that influence from Memphis. I was thrown out of a blues club one time for not being bluesy enough.
Oh,
You
no.
know.
Get the hook.
Playing the
Hey,
hook.
yeah, I was like, we're going to have to ask you to leave. You're not blues. You know, well, okay.
That is funny. Another part of Memphis history is the pop side. That's not
Oh, yeah.
necessarily the R&B, but like Big Stars, kind of and the Box Tops and the Alex Chilton. So you've played some of the clubs where they used to play.
Oh,
and-
sure, yeah, yeah.
and,
And Keith Sykes is still doing well down there. He plays a lot with Jimmy Buffett, and you know, they still have a vibrant music scene, mostly around Ardent Studios.
Yes, yeah,
With
which
all
was
the
started
great-
way back then. With
Yeah,
the-
with all the great studios are gone.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
shame.
Mm-hmm.
Real shame. So Nashville's here where you've been for quite a few years now. How
Almost
many years?
30 years, yeah.
30 years. Gosh. Do you
know.
play different clubs here? Or do you just make
Yeah, I play, well, an assortment. I play out in the county a lot, or, you know, Rutherford County, Bedford County, out that way. And it's
You're
just,
involved in a regular songwriter night or something like that, where you have other.
well, I've
writers.
been doing the radio show at Bell Buckle for about 15 years. It's
Oh,
on
wow,
every
that's every
Saturday.
Saturday morning?
Every Saturday, yeah. Afternoon, we do that radio show.
Is
Now,
that from the cafe? The
yeah,
Bell
Buckle
Buckle
Cafe?
Yeah.
Right,
That's
right.
great. You're a regular on that.
Yeah, I have been, yeah.
Wow.
What a great community down there. You know, I read an article about Bell Buckle recently, and they were selling, I think it was a minimum of 5-acre plots because they want to keep it rural. They don't want development. They want to keep the mom and pop businesses
Wow.
going, and
Well,
they
you
don't
know,
want big chains coming in.
I have a song on that on my Ever Ready CD, Bell Buckle.
Yes.
It's considered the Bell Buckle national anthem.
Oh,
Really?
really?
It is, it
I'm
is.
proud of you. All right.
You write about some of your travels. You told me you wrote a song when you were flying in a plane. Is
Oh,
that right? On
about the
mission?
Amazon, yeah. Yeah, I was on my way, I was playing evangelistic crusades, kind of like the Billy Graham thing. I was playing in a Christian band there. And on the way down, in the middle of the night, jumbo jet starts pitching and tossing and turning, and like a roller coaster going up and down over the Amazon. And I had visions of Tarzan's New York Adventure.
The plane going down in the
Going
jungle.
down the jungle, and I told the Lord that, you know, Lord, if you let me survive, I'll write a song about it, and I'll come and do it on Studio 23.
Oh, wow. I love it.
Yep. And so,
That's why I'm here.
yep.
That's why I'm here to do that song.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I'm glad you survived that plane flight. I'm glad you captured a little Brazilian flavor in this song. I'm very happy to
did.
play the flute on it. So let's sing Amazon.
All right. In the domain of tropical rain, overseas fly, turbulent sky. The woman seated next to me prayed her Portuguese prayers, and everybody tried to remain calm. It's the wild winds that blow on the jungle below. In the Amazon, the Amazon. We made our way from Rio de Janeiro to lightning rods on a mission from God. The roads were non-existent and the people wear no shoes. The women there were tall and fair and blonde. No, and we played our guitars under the stars in the Amazon, the Amazon. isolations of the southern hemisphere remind us how far we are from home. Sleeping or not, we dreamed on our cots in the Amazon, the Amazon. It's the Amazon, not Amazon.com.
Did you say .com?
Yes,
You're kind of melding.
free
it.
shipping.
So I suppose this song should be available online.
It is. It's on iTunes and CD Baby and on Amazon. I'm pretty sure.
Straighten up and flat right.
Now available, Come Out Swingin', the new CD by the Brian Cumming Jazz Quartet. Come Out Swingin' is available at Studio23Nashville.com and all major digital retailers.
Say, come out swinging.
Come Out Swingin' by the Brian Cumming Jazz Quartet. Get yours today. All of us here at Studio 23 Nashville would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Visit Hickman County, the Hickman County Department of Tourism. World Music Nashville. Expedia Cruise Ship Centers, Nashville West. And the Law Office of Lavelle Glanton.
I asked you about some other songs you had. You had some song titles about, was it On the Road to Ireland? Is that one of them?
Yeah, All Roads Lead to Ireland.
Roads Lead to
Well, that song has been played in Ireland on the BBC and different places. It was written as a tribute to Randy Howard. He came to Bell Buckle with Kathy Kavala, and he was dying of cancer.
Yeah.
It was probably his last gig, but he played these Irish fiddle tunes that were just heavenly. And on the way between Bell Buckle and Murfreesboro, I wrote that song, Our Roads Lead to Ireland.
After listening to Randy play?
Yeah, after listening to Randy Howard.
He was great. I don't know if you remember him, but he was a really
He played with
wonderful
Shelby
player.
Lynn and
Oh,
a lot of
yeah.
people.
Yeah,
He was
very
great.
talented, great player.
And when they start playing that music like that, you can almost hear the cry. Like the violin will make you want to cry. It's like, yeah.
And the Irish the tradition is so expressive and emotional.
I just love these song
But
titles.
that's on my bucket list to go to Ireland. You know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, definitely. I was picking
I'm
out
kidding.
Tennessee
Cut
Day.
that out.
Did y'all sing that one, Tennessee Day?
No, we sang Amazon,
Amazon,
Saturday, and took Mama to the Opry.
Mama to the Opry.
Oh, tell me about that song.
Well, it's kind of an old school because it's the old Opry. People have encouraged me to update it, for the new Opry, but no, it's about the old Opry. And I took my mother, and we saw Porter and Little Jimmy Dickens and Skeeter Davis. But I didn't know what year it was when I wrote it, and my sister found a letter. It was dated 1983, and my mother told her about going to Opryland, and she said, it was so expensive, Cokes were 75 cents a piece.
Don't you love that?
That's my mom.
Oh, my God.
And my mama.
Was that kind of a dream of hers to go and see the Opry in person, and you made it
She
come
loved
true?
country music. She loved, and I remember her going around the kitchen singing "End of the World,"
Oh, yeah.
by Skeeter Davis.
Now that's a song that I don't think is necessarily country. It's really a pop song. It's
It
got
was a
beautiful melody.
pop hit too. Yeah.
Do you remember who wrote it?
Skeeter Davis.
She wrote that?
She wrote it.
Crossover. She did a lot of that crossover stuff. That was
Yeah,
mainly her niche,
yeah.
Well, that was really the country stylist back then. There was country pop. You had your Eddie Arnold and Jim Reeves, and they just appealed to everybody. They were just.
And really, Memphis is part of the story of how rock and roll kind of got absorbed into country as far as the category goes. Jerry Lee Lewis was a rock and roll guy at the beginning.
Oh, and he does some of the finest country.
Yeah. He sure
But
did.
I've been criticized for leaving Memphis, but I always tell them, I always come back with, well, so did Elvis, so did Johnny Cash, and so did Roy Orbison. Like they all left Memphis to go, and not to take anything away from Memphis, but there would still be regional acts if they hadn't have done that.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to get bigger.
Yeah, Charlie Rich was another one that went.
Oh,
through
Charlie
the
Rich,
Sun
yeah.
Studios,
Exactly.
yeah.
He did real
I used to see him driving his Corvette around Memphis. Yeah, and he'd
Silver
wave at
Fox.
you.
I love it. So many great names, including Everett Brown. out of Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to continue with more of Studio 23 Nashville up next.
Hickman County, Tennessee. It feels a lot like home, or how home should feel. Come by, sit a spell. Soak in the goodness that inspired Minnie Pearl to write about this special place. Visit Hickman County, Tennessee's hidden treasure.
Straighten up and flat right.
Now available, Come Out Swingin', the new CD by the Brian Cumming Jazz Quartet. Come Out Swingin' is available at Studio23Nashville.com and all major digital retailers.
Sing, come out swinging.
Come Out Swingin' by the Brian Cumming Jazz Quartet. Get yours today. All of us here at Studio 23 Nashville would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Visit Hickman County, the Hickman County Department of Tourism. World Music Nashville. Expedia Cruise Ship Centers, Nashville West. And the Law Office of Lavelle Glanton.
I think somewhere in that songwriting soul, there's a deep streak of country.
Well, I have a story about my songwriting journey. I've always been considered country, even though I never considered myself country. In Memphis, I went to the happening guys around town, Transmax's studio, and he said, I like your songs, but you're country. You need to go to Nashville. And
Is that what they told you?
and I said, what kind of songs are you looking for? And he said, Cajun, voodoo, funk.
I have not heard that category.
I didn't have those with me at that day.
Cajun, voodoo, funk. I wonder what it's going to take to make a Grammy category.
It was back when Rory Head and some of those people were recording in Memphis, and
Well, yeah, that one.
Tony Joe White.
Yeah, well, he's
Cajun,
pretty.
voodoo, funk.
Yeah, he's got it. Would you say Dr. John kind of has a little bit of
Yeah,
that?
oh yeah. Oh yeah, he's especially
If you wear
big on the
feathers,
voodoo.
you're ahead of the game. Okay.
Big on the voodoo.
Okay, all right. So we got what might qualify as a country song. or
It
at
does.
least I think it certainly honors country
Well,
music.
it's supposed to honor my mama because she loved
Yeah.
country music, and that's what the story's about.
Yeah, it really is more about loving your mama, but it also shows a love for the
For the
music.
Opry in Opryland. Opryland is dear to people's hearts, and it broke a lot of hearts when they moved it. You know.
Yeah. Well, I'm very happy to play this song with you. So let's honor your mama.
Let's
honor
do it.
The Mother Church at the same time.
Well, Mama had a birthday some years ago. I said I'd take her anywhere she wanted to go. She thought for a minute and said, let's see, how about the Grand Ole Opry down in Tennessee? I took Mama to the Opry. One time I took Mama to the Opry. One time I took Mama to the Opry. One time I took Mama to the Opry. One time. I took some time off work for our family retreat. I made a few phone calls, got some front row seats. I loaded up the kiddos and gassed up the van. We all headed out for Opryland. I took Mama to the Opry. One time 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 we saw little Jimmy Dickens. Mama thought he was cute. Took a picture of Porter in his wagon wheel suit. Her eyes lit up just like a teenage girl. She heard Skeeter Davis singing End of the World. Now Opryland's a shopping mall and Porter is gone, and Mama has moved to her heavenly home. The Opry lives on. Better make you a date. Take your mama to the Opry before it's too late. I took Mama to the Opry. One time I took Mama to the Opry. One time I took Mama to the Opry. One time I took Mama to the the Opry. We had a big time.
Oh my God, I would have given anything to be a fly on the wall when you were playing with Jerry
Jerry
Lewis.
Lee, oh
I
my
love
gosh.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Well,
You know what my memory is of that? We were playing, and this drummer and the bass player, we'd load up our gear. You know, we had a lot of gear, like big amps and things.
Yeah.
We'd go down and set it up and play with him. And he said, "What do you boys want to play?" I said, "No." He said, "What do you want to hear?" And I said, "Could you do You Win Again?" And he played it, and I thought, I not only got my request, I got to play it with Jerry Lee. Like,
Oh my gosh.
that was great.
did he write any of his stuff?
No.
He pretty much took it from.
Yeah, he wasn't a writer.
Yeah. He didn't need to be with that much
No.
energy.
Gosh, he was so talented. You know, I don't know what he's like now. If he can
He's
play
the
much
last
or
man
not.
standing.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's the last man
my God, he's still
standing
alive.
out of
What, 80 now?
$1
or-
million quartet.
82 or something, yeah.
I wonder if he plays. Do you know? Does he still play piano?
Yeah,
Can
oh
he
yeah.
still play? I didn't know if he.
He
could or
won't
not.
stop.
Well, you know, that brings to mind, you were telling me that one of your songs has been cut by a bluegrass group.
Oh yeah.
So,
The,
what's-
the Mama to the Opry was Valerie Smith and Liberty Pike last year, and they recorded another gospel song called Bottle of Tears,
that you
and
wrote.
on their last thing called Small Town Heroes. Yeah.
And did they get an award with the Bluegrass Association or something like that?
They got some nominations. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
you know, about the award deal, but they're a good group. And
What a great fit, though. I am familiar with Valerie.
Oh, you
Years
are?
ago, when I worked at WSM,
wow.
she would come on the Opry Star Spotlight and visit with me.
with Charlie Louvin. And,
Oh yes, and you know Valerie is bluegrass, but
Yeah.
she's not the usual little tiny high pitched
Yeah,
voice that
yeah.
you think
That's
sometimes
true.
for bluegrass. And she's got a lot of soul and blues, I think, mixed in with that bluegrass. that
She
would-
reminds me, I mean, in all respect, she reminds me of Brenda Lee.
Oh,
You know, like a powerhouse.
she
Yeah.
can belt
That's
it out.
Valerie.
Yeah.
Really great singer.
Yeah.
Amazing voice. How ironic that we know the same people.
That's great.
Small
Were you
world.
looking for a bluegrass cut, or how did that happen?
No. She had recorded another one of my songs on her CD before that, and she just hears me as a writer. I mean, she lives in Bell Buckle, so
Oh.
there you go, the old Bell Buckle connection.
So they appear on that show.
Not regularly. Her husband does. He's from North Dakota, South Dakota, one of those Dakotas,
One of those far north places.
Fargo or somewhere. And he plays on there. He plays guitar and squeeze box and penny whistle. He's real versatile.
In their bluegrass group?
No, we do the Irish stuff, or we do yeah.
Oh, that's
Change it
cool.
up. I have to familiarize people with Bell Buckle. It is one of my favorite places on the face of the earth. I love that town. But it's also, isn't it the home of the R.C. Cola and Moon Pie Festival?
It is. It is.
Oh, there's an R.C. Cola
Yes.
and Moon Pie Festival.
And
Gotta have them together.
Gotta have them together.
Can't have one or the other. Yeah.
It's in June sometime, and yeah, they bring up all the RCs and moon pies from Chattanooga. Yeah.
I know one year Waylon Jennings, and I think Jesse Coulter was with him as well, were like the king and the queen there.
They
yeah.
Oh,
were.
they have a king and a queen. Oh, my God.
Well, I have a memory about that because they had a green room tent out back, and Waylon didn't really feel up to playing that day, and his manager Nikki Mitchell came out, and I said, "You go back there and you tell Waylon where there's a Willie, there's a Waylon." And she came back, and I said, "Did you tell him?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Did he laugh?" And she said, "No."
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad she told him because I wouldn't have said it to Waylon.
Are you still writing Christian music as well?
I am, and because I'm retired from Nissan. I always, being a songwriter, I always worked and played music.
Yeah.
When I worked at Nissan, I'd play 200 nights a year while I was working on the assembly line. But since I've been retired, I get more assisted living, homes, and celebration of life, funerals. But, you know, that's okay. It's okay. And it's prompted more Christian. The old folks like the hymns, and we sing those. And I'm writing a lot more Christian these days, you know.
You know, I admire you so much because so many people will come to town and they almost look at that as a bad thing, that you have another job besides your music if that is your focus. But I find it so inspirational because you are actually...
It's an honor.
Yeah.
It's honorable, put it that way, to have a job.
I definitely think so.
You know, especially, I mean, what do you want your quality of life? You know, I like to eat, you know. And
don't you think it gets the wheels turning more, the creative
exactly.
wheels?
I
Because you're
wrote more
outside of
songs.
your circle meeting different folks.
I wrote
Yes,
more songs
that's a good
standing by a printing press or on the assembly line than I do sitting at a table, you know, with a bunch of guys drinking coffee.
Right, right. It's absolutely amazing.
And it kind of takes the pressure off the songwriting as a way to earn money. I mean,
Well, I look at
it's-
it as a 24/7 job. I mean, I'm writing songs all the time,
Yeah.
and every now and then one will come together, and I'll put it down.
And you know, he not only wrote some songs that we sing along and hum along to, he built the cars we're driving. This guy's behind everything. This is the magic man
Well,
over
I
Brown
didn't
here.
say I was a good auto worker.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
I was bashful when I first came to Nashville. I couldn't get arrested here. Then just last month it happened. You guessed it. I got arrested here. It's writer's night. Pour your soul into an open mic. Y'all get ready to be polite, 'cause tonight is writer's night. Well, it's been called a cattle call. Gonna-bees and wannabes line the wall. One day their photos will paper these walls, and you will call this writer's night. It's writer's night. Pour your soul into an open mic. I don't want to spoil your appetite, but tonight is writer's night. Well, my mother's a waitress, my father's a clown. I was born on my birthday in my hometown. You'll think of this night, remember this place, that writer's night song by what's his face. It's writer's night. Pour your soul into an open mic. Pay no attention to your own hype. Tonight is writer's night. Well, it's a songwriter's town, in case you didn't know. From Shopperland to Music Row, you can sing those sad songs and bring them to tears, but you can make more money selling Predator souvenirs. This writer's night. Pour your soul into an open mic. I drank some NyQuil and I'm a little tired, but that's all right. It's writer's night. Well, here's my bio, my demo, and there is more in my trunk. Songs for the waif, the honky-tonk hunk. Radio friendly, and I'm aiming to please, to get my name in parentheses. And it's writer's night. Pour your soul into an open mic. Whatever you like. Tonight is writer's night. I hit. Well, I'm too pop for country, too country for pop, too white for rap, too hip for hip hop. This is one pitch and they won't pigeonhole. I'm over the hill, but I'm ready to roll, 'cause it's writer's night. Pour your soul into an open mic. Bake your biscuits with Martha White. Now for the sacred benediction. Writer's night. Open mic. All my songs sound alike. For young virgins in the round. You can whisper, just keep it down. Cheap, I do this for free. Give me more monitor, please. Writer's night.
How did you two cross paths?
Probably Les Kerr
Les Kerr.
is the reason. Yeah, Les has been a guest on the show,
Yes.
of course, and responsible for the Mardi Gras show every week. And Les is the only reason I ever got to be on that Bell Buckle show, too. I went down with him on a Saturday and experienced
Les
that
used to
race.
come down there a lot.
Yeah, he really circulates.
He
Yeah.
does, he
And
does.
there's actually another group that Les formed with Everett and me and our friend Allison Kerr, the Texas girl that
Yes.
you've met. And the four of us that list, it was his idea. So
Right.
let's get together, those 4 writers, and he called it the Nashville Eclectic Service.
Oh, wow.
Or
Electric
NES.
Songwriters, I think is what it was.
That's
Yes,
even better.
Songwriters.
Okay.
And
He's like, I
electric
didn't
Well,
know.
songwriters.
okay.
But we played the Bluebird a couple of times.
Yeah.
In the round.
It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to be getting back together in this way.
It is. It is.
The creative juices keep flowing.
Yeah, yeah. And then the bluegrass video that you talked about where Everett was playing banjo and I was playing mandolin, that was Les's job. He found that opportunity.
It was
and-
music
and
of the
I-
Civil War.
Yeah, it was part of a soundtrack for a cable show about the Civil War. And Les found this authentic old Civil War era gospel song that he arranged, and we recorded a version here at Studio 23. You know, now that I have this chance to think about the things we've done, it's been a pretty amazing
amazing,
story.
yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Well, I just arrived in town for to pass the time of day, and I settled all my business according. But it felt so cold when I went up the street, I wished I was on the other side of Jordan. Take off your coat, roll up your sleeves, Jordan, am a hard road to travel. Said, take off your coat, boys, roll up your sleeves, Jordan, am a hard road to travel, I believe. Now look to the east and look to the west. I seen that old gray goose a-comin' with 40 bay horses stretched out in front, toting money to the other side of Jordan. Take off your coat, roll up your sleeve, Jordan, am a hard road to travel. Said, take off your coat, boys, roll up your sleeve, Jordan, am a hard road to travel, I believe. Now old Louis Napoleon's the emperor of France, and Europe is a trembling according. But the Yankees don't care if he wants another fight, he wishes he stayed on the other side of Jordan. Take off your coat, roll up your sleeves, Jordan, am a hard road to travel. Said, take off your coat, boys, roll up your sleeves, Jordan, am a hard road to travel, I believe. Now David and Goliath, they had a little fight. A colored man come up behind them, hit Goliath on the head with a bar soft soap, sounding on the other side of Jordan. Take off your coat, roll up your sleeves, Jordan, am a hard road to travel. Said, take off your coat, boys, roll up your sleeves, Jordan, am a hard road to travel, I believe.
Welcome back to Studio 23 Nashville, and I have in hand,
The Everett Brown Collection.
I'm telling you, Home
box set.
Sweet Hometown, which you have to get just for the cover photo. What did you say you were doing here on the front?
Well, that's an archive picture from Memphis State of a Marymobile driver. It's a popsicle truck we had as kids.
A popsicle truck
Yeah.
that would drive the streets and then stop and sell
Yeah, and
popsicles.
they were round. It looked kind of like a merry-go-round. And,
Yes, with a canopy and a little bullhorn
I
on the
actually
front.
drove a restored one in the Kentucky Derby parade a few years back.
Oh, it must have been a thrill.
It was.
Did you get a
Talk about
picture?
getting popular, but I didn't have any ice cream, and everybody wanted ice cream. I didn't have any.
But we have music. Home Sweet
Yeah.
Hometown was that one. You've got one called Summer Avenue, Old
Right,
Summer Road,
right,
across
yeah.
the roads there. And then you have a new one, Ever Ready.
Ever ready? That's me. Yeah.
And you said a couple of these are what available.
Well,
for
those are just
download?
downloads.
Yeah.
But Ever Ready, I still have physical copies of. But you can get them on iTunes, Amazon, CD Baby.
It's been a great pleasure for us to have Everett with us on Studio 23 Nashville. Thank
It
you,
really
Jennifer.
has. Thank you, Everett. And
Thank you,
next
Jennifer.
time we're going to make you bring the whole collection of hats. We've got
Okay.
to
And the harmonica.
Hats and harps. Okay.
Yes.